Good morning. Last day. Let's see what's going to happen today. I suspect we're going to be in a bit of a trading range. So yesterday looked like things were going to tank down to that pivot, and obviously they didn't. They began to build up some support there, and kind of the middle of nowhere. And so, what we did, explained in the room, was so we do this every day, right? It's what Dan and I we call it factory work, right? And so the concepts that we use are meant to help us adjust to a current market. Because once we look at what is, right, and we create a bias, and it's like, okay, this is what I believe, what I think now. Well, things don't always happen the way we think they're going to. And so we have to have ways of adjusting. So one of the ways of adjusting is to determine if a new pivot forms. Right? See pivot low, pivot high. We define those as just a bar with three higher lows to the left and right, or a bar with three lower highs to the left and right. So when prices began to stabilize yesterday, to go back, whatever the day, easier to look at on the whatever. Once they begin to form a pivot, now you have a reference point to where prices may hold like here, or maybe not, and then they continue lower and so on. So then we look, there's a wide range bar, does it pop up, so on and so forth, which guides us to maybe it's not going to get down there. So today we've got things trading down here within yesterday's range. It's not going anywhere, kind of directionless. We've got some resistance up there, we got some support down here, and we'll see if we can get things moving one way or another, or is it just going to be a terribly boring end of the day? All right. Do SPX early, please. Okay. SPX. So yesterday with the early morning volatility, neither strike was touched. It never, well, the bottom came closer. We'll get to SPX, but it didn't get there because buyers came in, um, early. And then began to stay and things began to rise. So as we watched things yesterday morning, it was like, we started out with, okay, maybe this can go down there, but then the Russell began to take hold. The Magnificent Seven began to take hold, and it was a bit, ragged. And then, things lifted up. So lifted up to where? Well, it didn't get all the way down here. And like I said, began to hold, moves up toward the pivot, what was support, right? Pivot low, and it comes into that area and it's stalled, right? At that point, we don't know whether it'll keep going up or down, and we do the same opposite, actually, same but opposite. Where we look down at the bottom for it to form a pivot low, and then we look for it to form a pivot high, and does it begin to go sideways up there? And then we know that it began to roll over late in the day, a little profit taking. Anyway, so now where are they? Gapping up inside of yesterday's bar, which leads me to believe that it's not going to go very far. And that's a belief, and we see what happens. So can it get above, assuming this is a pre-market high, by the time the market opens, get a bit above it. It's spiked up. Does it go back down to the low? Can it get above yesterday's high or down near yesterday's low, or does it just trade in between there? I don't know. That's, as I said, we create a bias or beliefs based on what is, and then the future is the unknown, and we use our tools to guide us as to what's happening. Right now, it just looks like if it can take out that high, maybe the 50, which is looking at the 65-minute, and the I'm looking at the 15, it would come up into some resistance there, not significant, but maybe it could get a bit higher. Right, so somewhere around the 50 or a little bit higher, I think would be the upside target. You can see the pivots on the 65-minute chart there. That horizontal line, as I'm moving it, is in that area. So that would be your significant resistance area on the spiders. After that, it gets a little, it's still within a trading range. So this is the upper limit, which again, a belief, I don't think can even get close to that. And the lower limit, probably it's going to, I believe, going to stay in between here today on the outside limits, and maybe more likely within this inside of this whole range here is where it stays, because it's just been whipping back and forth. If you go look at the chart of the week on the website, I discussed on SPX, which we'll take a look at. That 6,000 level is whipping back and forth, through that. So as we look at SPX, we've got major support down here. And you know that it's opening up around here because of where the spiders are. You got the pivot up there. So it puts us under 6,000. Right? So where resistance is, if it can get up there. We got support at yesterday's low. And so these are the strikes as to what I just put in before we came on. And so if the market moves up a little bit, this strike probably depends on how fast it happens. And there's always time decay because these are zero DTE, whether you could go to 6,010, but so above 6,000 should be okay. And this is down below this major support. So I don't think it's going to get to either one. You can consider an iron condor or see if it takes direction in the first 5 or 10 minutes and then decide what you're going to do. And so, I talked about this topping pattern, possibly topping pattern in that chart of the week. It's there to go look at. And as we get into next year, we'll just see, which way this is going to go. But, after a move up like this, getting wide and whippy, the more basic explanation of stages, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, topping pattern 3, wide and whippy. So eventually we'll see if this actually breaks lower. And what would guide us to that is the interest rates continue to move up, which they're up at resistance here. And, they down a little bit, not really moving too much here, but just chopping around. But that is in an uptrend, but at this resistance area. So next year we'll be looking to see, what this does here. Does it break lower? Does it take this out? If it takes this out, well, that should put more pressure on equity. So as of today, unlikely this is going to do anything of significance either. We'll take a peek at our internals here. And I was kind of hoping that we would get a little more downside, but the markets held up yesterday. And I thought if we can get a little more downside, even though, end of year, seasonality, less likely. But look, if it did, we could have got this sentiment moving down to these lower bands. And instead of that happening, they're stable to actually flipping up. So option traders continue to get enthusiastic or belief that the market could maybe make that end of year Santa Claus little move and, profit from that, of course. And so we'd see if these would move up. But yes, Rob, they're exactly dead neutral, right? In the middle of the bands, the total and equity put call ratio right in between the bands. We got the breadth got to an extreme down here as things began to stabilize. And just as a point of interest or a guide, if you look at these on your own, when breadth goes to an extreme like this, as to a guide where the market pops up a little bit, and so this came up into this minor resistance area, but as a general guide, when it gets towards zero, that's typically when the market's going to run into some headwinds again. It just worked out as a pretty good guide over the years. So other markets, pretty much did the same thing. Qs, wide, whippy. What this is head and shoulders kind of a pattern, lower right shoulder, and whether it breaks here, we're just going to have to see. They're just marking time here. All this mess from yesterday. I got to figure out how to change this pencil to the way it used to be and get rid of all this crap. I don't know who makes charts with these kind of fancy lines, how they make sense out of anything. But that's what leads to massive confusion by people that use all this crap that comes in these platforms. Okay. So I'm not going anywhere. Um, the Dow retesting. So we've been talking about, for the, a couple of weeks, give or take, the extreme move down in some markets, and then this retest, whether these can hold and get some kind of counter trend rally like the Dow futures, um, like the Russell, down on this major support and a retest pattern after getting climactic. We can get some kind of a rally. And you can see this little flip down on the 65 and coming up. So if we were to get, let's assume today we get some sideways price action, which what's happening at the moment. Um, maybe can clear here and we can get that little rally going, up to the next level, and then we would see where it goes from there. And so we've got the Russell down there. We've got um, regional banks, here and retesting. They're up here. So maybe these get some counter trend moves. SPYV value stocks to take a look at. So this is what we call a new low plus, where prices get climactic, they make a turn, comes down and breaks the low. And now we want to see it begin to stabilize here. So this could be another one as we get into the beginning of the year that maybe we get some kind of continuation moves from more climactic moves. I can't say it's continuation yet, right? We want to see it bottom out and then have some kind of a counter trend rally. So the other financials don't look so good. It's not climactic. It didn't fill the gap. So it showed some relative strength, but this just doesn't jump out as an opportunity. Right. All right. Just others, since, retailing just doesn't look like much of anything. What I really want to see, right, because this is, things can really move, is the semiconductors tighten up. We had discussion yesterday in the green room about, momentum moves and resistance and patterns tightening up and, picking quality patterns. Um, so that kind of review here is we got the retracement into this resistance, but it hasn't tightened up. Kind of tightening up on the weekly time frame, but it's just a mess. So nothing to really do here, but there are some selective things that may be showing some relative strength or weakness. We've been seeing a lot of these low price stocks, and I pointed out to Dan a little while ago that here's a semiconductor that it's kind of whippy. It hasn't tightened up yet, but you can see the weekly here bottoming out. And so you can see that I don't have volume on here, but anyway, volume spike, and it's whippy. So if this begins to tighten up, maybe it could be one of these low price stocks that are making some really impressive moves lately. Right now, it's just too messy. But so as I scanned the low price layout, I saw this one. I said, it's nothing to do now, but let's set an alert and see what it does. Mid caps, another one of those sectors that got climactic. It's retesting. We'll see if it makes a turn. And what we'll be doing is using our scanning software as we look at these. It'll load the stocks within there, and then we'll look at which ones showed relative strength, and of course, which kind of patterns to pick which ones maybe will be good for put spreads, which ones will be good for directional trades, or maybe a call debit spread. So got to do some homework there. All right, another minute here, Dan. I'm handing over to you. Gold is just marking time. Nothing happening there. Silver looks like lower, so pretty messy. I don't know, maybe to hold that pivot. I don't know. I'm not doing anything with that. Crude oil is going to be interesting. Yeah, this is starting to tighten up like it. I don't know. Can it? We got a little trading range going on here, right? Up the pivot. It's up at the pivot highs. It held here. And if this goes sideways as we get into the end of this week after the holiday, if this goes sideways or should it form a bottoming tail bar, that's going to pop. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that to see what it does here at these pivots. And then, of course, looking at XLE and OIH and the stocks within there is what we'll be doing. So those of you that I see many following on social media, take advantage of our end of year offers and join the green room because, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. There always are. Sometimes things get a little erratic and you got to sit on the sidelines for a while. But look, I think things are going to move, at the beginning of the year and what's going to move and what direction is going to move. We got to determine all of that. Right? If we give it away, Robert, well, could say that, but look, there's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of marketing, be frank, bullshit out there. And when you are in opposition of the majority being the indicator mythology, it's hard to convince people that you're the one with the common sense that's right when everyone else is saying you need Ichikumi clouds and fibs and Elliott waves and stochastics and this and it's like, well, why should Master Trader be right to say all of that stuff is hocus pocus? And so people will poke around for a year or so if they don't lose all their money and say, you know what, maybe there was something to that common sense strategy of price action. All yours, Dan.
Mhm. Reviewing a couple other things here as you were finishing. Yeah, the last day of the year. The four horsemen here. Whenever I fire up my computer in the morning, that's my routine to get an updated bias from yesterday and just look at the four horsemen. And today's a fantastic example of which one's the best for whether you got to decide whether for put spread, day trade, swing, whatever. And just look at the depth of retracement into these 15-minute resistance levels. And IWM is superior. So look, it's gapping over all of this, whereas the other horsemen are gapping into it. So I posted this as a put spread over a 5-minute high for Friday. Saul, I just had an alert go off. This is in my junk category. We've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks. Now, see, this one I think is ready because I got a pattern. I got a bottoming pattern, went sideways, 20 MA flattened out and broke out. Weekly, nothing, monthly, nothing. But I mean, I could show you hundreds of stocks that have just been blasting. And we actually did this one 3 days ago, right here at the bottom. We nailed this thing. We sold a third here. We sold more yesterday. It got halted intraday in the morning, and then we just took our money. And look, pre-market, it went up to $5. Now look at the volume yesterday. So I've been paying attention to a lot of these, and I think Saul here is ready. 30-minute high would be ideal. for it to take out yesterday's high. Let me put a little sol right here in the middle. The buy was one that I wish we got on this green bar right here. That, went down, you had a retest, you had a closing breakout. And now it's gapping up over $5, so I missed the entry on that. PHUN is in our weekend letter. It didn't trigger yesterday, but we're gonna, if it triggers, and we may trigger it earlier today, we're gonna sell the $5 puts for 55 cents. But I also, ideally, we get another inside bar or two, and then I'll do it just buying the stock. Look at the weekly. The weekly is ready. I call it a footprint of what I'm looking for in the sector and the time. And this is the footprint of what I'm looking for to buy these junk stocks, because we're chart people and the charts are in agreement. Now, we never know which ones are going to explode. POAI, you just manage in between. I just had an alarm on this go off. POAI. It meets my footprint. I bought yesterday at, I think, 86 cents or 87, I forget. But this is it broke out, big old red bar. We just need it to tighten up a little bit now, and then that's ready to go. AAP alarm. Now this one is, this one's just a regular trade, not a penny stock junker. Did I give this yesterday? We have a lot of open longs. AAP. No, I did not trigger this one. All right, so this one is still on the list. AAP. I'll put it in a window. There's a ton of climos out there, like Greg said, and sectors and stocks that are climos with different types of retests. EMN. These days of the week mess me up with holidays. Friday's high. Friday's high. No, I'm talking. A put spread, 90.85 put spread. NUE we're already in. Hopefully it'll bounce today. We got a put spread on this. They're all over the place. Look at XH, and they're just like we do the A/B test, saying, okay, now let's find the best ones. This one broke down from consolidation, so I don't like that one unless it trades above that. XLE is better. XLE is better, and I don't know why, but this thing, the spreads are absolutely ludicrous for put spreads. It was never like that. So like the 83s are like 10 cents by $1.80. It's just untradeable. But we can, again, over Friday's high, buy the stock for a bounce. So anyway, I got a ton of these. I got alarms on them. NVIDIA, I posted as a put spread over, just for Friday, over this 15-minute base right here, which is 139.50. A little buy setup after a breakdown and 100% retracement. And so I got my alarm. Greg mentioned this Mobex. Yes, a KRE. Look at W. Had a reversal here and a new low reversal with a big old void. I got an alarm at 45.10. BABX, it's the levered BABA. Potential bottoming pattern. I got my alarm. YouTube talking about Michael Tango. It's another Climo retest. Yeah, they're going to be all over the place. Set an alarm at 2302. So the question is, when do you want to enter? And you got to enter when you're confident that you have a turn and that there's a good void. But yeah, I was what? So that's metal. Here's X also. It's different. It's different, right? But X, I need to take out the red bars high. So MT here, same thing. Cho saying rig T should be an easy short to level it down to morning open. There's really, they are extended, but there's no good short entry right here based on the pre-market bullishness. IONQ, they're neutral right now. I don't see those as great shorts. All right, let me continue here. NXU, there's another blaster yesterday. Now, see that one to me, it's hard to get on board. But you can see pre-market it rallied, went sideways, and you kind of have a 1, 2, 3, 4 here. That would have been an acceptable entry yesterday. FIFI we talked about. XLE we talked about. MBOT. This was in the weekend letter, but the gap messed it up. Some of us re-entered on the cap fill, including me. I got in at 114 yesterday. But it's just too wide and whippy. I like the other ones I'm watching. Babex, like I said, levered. Baba D, another Climo making the turn. This would be a great put spread, but there's no juice. I saw this. All right, cool. SPY D, another retest. IWM we talked about. I posted a put spread. VeriSign, I read the, it's gapping up again. That cracks me up that it's gapping up because Buffett announced he's been accumulating. Oh, okay. So it's rallied $15 and gapping up 5 more. Now I think that's a beautiful time to buy it. $20 higher. Idiots. I would have posted it as a big call spread, but there's no weeklies. Dave came out of the coma. Look, this would have been a fantastic 1, 2, 3 buy. Look at this 1, 2, 3 entry. Now with the gap down, nothing to do. XHP alarm, nothing to do. That's an early alarm. So yeah, Dave with the gap down, no interest. 4 alarm, nothing to do now. But look at a 15. 15 is kind of a big old inverse head and shoulder. It's like I wish it had. If this were breaking out on the daily, I'd say buy 5-minute high. But there's not a great void is the problem. I mean, it could go to 107, but I always like telling you what would make it a superior setup. Stilled alarm. All right, we had a put spread in this, and this one is not performing right. Let me move stop 5-minute low. Look at the bottom right, Axta, another one of these possible breakdown failures. No rush to get into that. The entry really is last week's high though. Calm alarm, Sam, I am. This was yours yesterday. I like it over the high now. All right, look at Saul is moving. A CNC alarm. Wow, this thing's spready. All right, I'm gonna bid 204. Let me post. I post calm. BabX alarm. Still not ready, early alarm, but this could be intelligent bottom fishing. I'm gonna set the alarm a little higher right now. Set it at, 16. IWM, I gave 5-minute high. All right, TLT, I gave a put spread. AAP is slopping around. Let me see where this TLT is. 87, 85. Yeah, it's right there at 28 where I wanted it. All right, perfect. So that got filled. TLT, I'll post. KWE alarm. Look, another bottom fisher. Another bottom fisher. Another junk. But look at the 15-minute chart. It's a penny stock. But I'm gonna nibble. All right. It's a junk, it has to be in your trading plan. Oh, let me post. Behind here a little bit. All right, good. Saul, we can now buy. Let's buy yesterday's high. Over 206. All right. So now I'm not in a hurry anymore. So 206. Use gunning for the low. D Delta, that's a utility I've been watching. Not an airplane, Greg and Sam. Big up alarm. That's my oil. So look, I glance at my 4 oils and they're doing good.
Magnificent Seven aren't looking looking a little shaky. It's still going to be in this trading range. It's going to be messy.
all. You can buy a pullback, nothing wrong with that. Dig, a dig I like. We're already in XLE. I'm in dig myself. I'm gonna add to dig. Q's accelerating lower in IWM. I think we need to cancel that. Wow, dig is spready. So I'm gonna bid for it because I'm cheap. And let's cancel. Wow, I said over 5 minute high, so still fine if it triggers actually. I'm gonna set an alarm. We won't get the credit. Yeah, yeah, a little double bottom. I just wish it had a bigger void, but sure. Higher low turn. Buy setup weekly. Yeah, yeah, it's just the market not on our side. Um, Set an alarm at 5:50. D delta. This is just too friggin' slow for me. I only like a put spread. CNC alarm went off. This could be a good 30-minute high. 30-minute high. Let me get rid of this. It's inverse head and shoulder with left shoulder a little bumpier. That's a watch. AAP. Ah, that looked great, Alex. That was yours from yesterday. My alarm went off this morning. 4, doing nothing. See, I said it was too early. Still new alarm at 1:13:39. It's wire hauser, another Climo. Set an alarm 28:25. Wait, um, did I post this one? I'm in it myself. No, KWE. I said to buy. Let me post this. All right, calm triggered. 103.60. On up alarm. Um, let's see here. Over here, let's sell these puts over 557. Well, IWM took out the high. Alarm just went off. So those puts are go. EMBC up alarm. AP, AP, wait, I'm mixing up AP. Hold on, I'm mixing up APP. Yeah, no, I'm mixing up APP with AAP. WM, let's see where the juice bar is now. I posted pre-market. 218 to 13. There's 50 cents right now, and I went at 60. So it could very easily get filled here on this next little pullback. So I'll leave that. EMBC alarm. All right, this was the one we were questioning the other day what to do with it. So it's holding up alarm. IWM at 52 cents. CNC, I'll set an alarm now, 61.20. EMN. Hasn't triggered yet. I'll set an alarm 92.50. That's going to be a put spread over Friday's high. If it opens. Yep, sure has. But see the problem, Don, again, we trade very differently. And yes, I see support, but it came down so hard in a nasty way that I personally wouldn't touch it without a lot more information of stabilization there. So we, you know, your statement's correct, but your statement is not a viable event. Adobe can't get off the map. ASC still looks fine. This thing's coiling. We just need to have Sam go on the Yahoo Finance. Oh, we're actually in CNC. Yeah, Sam has to go on Yahoo Finance and put out some press releases to get it moving. That's a good question. I'll tell you exactly the difference. So yes, MBOT, what was it? Is this it? MBOT? Okay. All right. So I think the difference is this thing coming down so much harder in one bar. Whereas here, yes, it failed, but this was the second time around on this minor support. So I had more confidence. Well, and I didn't post it to subscribers because it wasn't a no-brainer. But it was enough for me because I wanted to get in the junk with a small position. And here it just came down hard. So yes, it's on support, but look at the daily right now. Would this be a pattern right now? Far from the 20, gapping up that much, short-term exhaustion gap that I would give as a swing? And the answer is absolutely not. But yesterday was less extended than today. But sure, I'm not sure. Watch it. Still catching up here. So I added on my DIG, but we're in XLE. NBC, we talked about. Look, this thing is still not moving. This thing should have gone more. All alarms. So I was going through opens. Oh yeah, Gil, Alex. Yeah. It didn't even dawn on me that I forgot we were in the two. Yeah, that was a short we gave. Yeah, we had, nice open gain yesterday. And you know me, I was tempted to move stop break even yesterday. I was tempted. GCOS. Um, 151.93. Hmm, getting sloppy. 148.22. Signal. They're top of the range, but I like weekly, monthly, Alex. Um, you know, just where your stop is. I think yesterday's low is fine. Ideally, it'll go sideways till after 3, and then maybe get an afternoon breakout um, for Friday. Oh, nice entry on that IWM. But, because it is, I mean, look at the entry day. Came down, took out the 5-minute high, and then immediately retraced. And that's when we got filled.
Futures just got over the overnight trading range. IWM.
Yeah, no, it was the best pre-market. Same reason. Well, I wasn't looking at overnight, but the gap.
Oh, when it triggered when you said it hadn't, and then it came all the way back down. Looked like
Right,
maybe it's going to be a little shaky. And
right. Exactly. And that's why I didn't say it verbally, but I was like, do I want to cancel it? And I'm like, no. AD line over 1,500.
these what's up though isn't like breaking out. Most of them are just inside days or within some range. Some oil sectors, OIH and XES.
I know not yet, but I'm gonna be the first to say.
Semis are back down to the low. Just whipping around here. Anybody that knows more about these leveraged instruments, maybe if you know, how did MSTR gap up and MSTX gap down?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They're both moving together intraday, but the gap was weird.
Lulu's still fine. Hasn't triggered. APP getting more iffy. Adobe, we're in it long stock, but put spread won't trigger. Rad. This was one I was watching yesterday. I had an up and down alarm. Never triggered it. I see Bitcoin here, 95.5, and one of my Canadian friends has been on, an ambassador type bull on Bitcoin. He's wrote it up to 90,000 the first go around, wrote it down to 15. And last night he said, yeah, my original target was 250,000, but now I'm raising it to 1 million. But he puts his money where his mouth is. He's a multimillionaire and he's believes in it and he's holding strong. Well, good for him. Yeah, things are getting very sloppy here. Q's new low. Wow, the 5 15-minute horsemen are a mess. Messy. Michael Jackson, we haven't looked at in a while. It's going out at the yearly lows, like the good old dog he is. Yeah, 15 minutes sure look lower now.